There is something nobody tells you about the moment everything falls apart. It is quiet. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is just quiet. And in that quiet, you sit with yourself. And you realize that something you built, something you worked for, something you believed in, is gone. And you don't know what to do next. That moment, that exact moment, that is where this conversation begins. Not at the top, not at the finish line, not in the celebration. Here, in the silence after the fall. Because that is where the real work starts. That is where the real you is decided. My name is not important. What I say to you today is, because I have seen people crumble after failure and never come back. I have also seen people fall harder than anyone should ever fall and come back with a strength so quiet, so deep, so unshakable that the world barely recognized them. And I want that for you. Not the loud version, not the arrogant version, the real version, the earned version. So let me speak to you honestly, calmly, without pretense, without performance, just truth. You tried something, and it did not work. Maybe it was a career, maybe it was a relationship, maybe it was a dream you had carried for years. Maybe it was your health, your finances, your family, your reputation. You poured yourself into it. You sacrificed for it. You believed in it. And then, it fell. And you fell with it. And it hurt. Let's not pretend it didn't. It hurt in a way that words don't fully capture. Not just the loss itself, but the feeling that came with it. The doubt, the shame, the exhaustion, the voice inside that said, maybe this is it. Maybe this is as far as I go. Maybe I'm just not built for more than this. I want you to know. That voice is lying to you. Not because your pain isn't real. It is. Not because your loss wasn't significant. It was. But because that voice does not understand what you are actually made of. It cannot see what is being built inside you through this very moment. It cannot see the strength that is forming in the places where you feel the most broken. You are not at the end of your story. You are at a turning point, and there is a profound difference between those two things. The end means nothing more is possible. A turning point means everything that comes next has the potential to be different. To be better, to be stronger than what was before. And that is what I want to talk to you about today. Not just surviving, not just recovering, starting again. But this time, stronger, wiser, more intentional, more grounded, more you. Because here is the truth that most people never sit with long enough to understand. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of the process of success. It is not a detour. It is the road. It is not the interruption of your growth. It is the mechanism of your growth. Every person who has ever built something real, something lasting, something meaningful has sat exactly where you are sitting right now. In the rubble, in the quiet, wondering if there is a way forward. There is. But let's slow down first. Because before you can move forward with real strength, you have to be honest about what happened. Not to punish yourself, not to drown in regret, but to understand. Because understanding is power, and pretending is weakness. Most people, after a major setback, do one of two things. They either shut down completely, they go numb, they stop trying, they shrink, they start living smaller because they are afraid of failing again, or they rush forward without reflection. They try to bury the failure under action without ever asking themselves what went wrong. And why, and what needs to change. Both of those paths lead to the same place. More pain, more stagnation, more distance from the life they actually want. The path I am inviting you toward is different. It is slower. It is harder. It requires something that most people are unwilling to give. It requires honesty. Complete, uncomfortable, unfiltered honesty with yourself. What happened? Not what you told other people happened. Not the version you rehearsed to protect your pride. What actually happened? Where did it go wrong? What did you miss? What did you ignore? What did you know deep down that you chose not to look at? These are not easy questions. They are not meant to be. But they are the questions that separate the people who grow from the people who repeat the same cycle of failure again and again, wondering why nothing ever changes. Growth is not comfortable. It never has been. It never will be. Growth lives on the other side of the questions you have been avoiding. So ask them. Sit in the discomfort of honest self-examination. Not for days, not to spiral, but long enough to see clearly. Long enough to extract the lesson that this experience was trying to teach you. Because every failure carries a lesson, and that lesson is the most valuable thing you have right now. Not your resources, not your connections, not your plan, the lesson. Because if you understand the lesson, you can build something that will not fall the same way again. This is the first step of starting again stronger. Accepting what happened, not approving of it, not pretending it was fine, accepting it, meaning allowing it to be real, allowing yourself to grieve it fully, and then choosing to look at it clearly without the distortion of shame or ego and say, what is this teaching me? That takes courage, real courage. The quiet kind, the kind nobody applauds. But it is a foundation. Everything else you build starts here. Now, let us talk about the rebuild. Starting again does not mean starting from zero. I want you to hear that clearly. Because one of the cruelest lies that failure tells you is that you have lost everything, that you are back at the beginning, that all those years, all that effort, all that sacrifice was wasted. It was not. You are not the same person you were when you first began. You carry everything you lived through. Every mistake, every lesson, every moment of difficulty that required you to adapt. That is inside you. That is permanent. That cannot be taken. You are not starting from scratch. You are starting from experience. And experience is something your younger self, your earlier self, did not have. This time, you know things. This time, you see things you did not see before. This time, you understand the cost of certain decisions, the value of certain disciplines, the danger of certain shortcuts. This time, you are not naive. You are not overconfident. You are not unprepared in the same ways you were before. You are in fact better equipped for the challenge than you have ever been. You just cannot see it yet because you are too close to the wreckage. Step back. Look at what you carry. Look at what this journey has actually given you. Now let us talk about the quality of this rebuild, because it is not enough to simply try again. The goal is to come back stronger, and that word stronger is not just about effort. It is about substance. It is about what you are made of now compared to what you were made of before. Strength, the real kind, is built through adversity, not comfort, not ease, not the absence of difficulty. Through loss, through the experience of being tested beyond what you thought you could endure, and still enduring. That experience changes the structure of a person. It changes how they think, how they respond, how they carry themselves in difficulty. You have been through something hard. That hardness is now part of you. It is not a wound if you choose to let it become a weapon. A tool, a source of clarity and discipline that you did not have before. The person who has never failed is fragile. They have never been tested. They do not know what they are made of. They do not know how to respond when things collapse. They have no reference point for endurance. You do. You know what it feels like to lose. You know what it feels like to doubt. You know what it feels like to sit in the dark and wonder if you can make it. And you are still here. That is not a small thing. That is everything. Now let us talk about the practical truth of building strength through a setback. The first thing you must accept is that the pain is not the enemy. The pain is the teacher. When something hurts, it is pointing you towards something you need to understand. It is drawing your attention to a place inside yourself that requires work. The people who try to escape pain as quickly as possible, who medicate it or ignore it or bury it under distraction, they miss the lesson. And they carry that unlearned lesson forward into the next chapter, where it will show up again, louder, more insistent, more costly. Do not run from what hurts. Sit with it, study it, let it inform you. The second thing you must develop is self-discipline, not motivation. Discipline. Motivation is a feeling. It comes and goes. It cannot be trusted to carry you through the long, difficult, unglamorous work of rebuilding your life. Discipline is a choice. It is what you do when you do not feel like doing anything. It is what separates the people who rebuild from the people who remain in the rubble. Every day, even the days when nothing seems to be moving, even the days when you feel like you are going backwards, you choose to do the next right thing. The small thing. The unsexy, undramatic, quiet thing. And you do it again tomorrow. And the day after. That consistency, that daily choice to keep going when it would be easier to stop, that is where strength is actually built. They start to shrink. They stop attempting things that might lead to failure, because failure now feels lethal to them. They watch other people move forward with a bitterness that grows quieter but deeper over time. Years pass. And one day they look up and realize that the moment of failure, which was supposed to be a chapter, became the entire book. They never moved past it. They never let it teach them. They are still there. Still in that moment. Older, but not stronger. Not wiser. Just stuck. That is one path. You fell, yes, and it cost you, yes, and it hurt in ways that you may still carry, yes. But you are still here. And that means you still have time. You still have capacity. You still have the choice, right now, in this moment, to decide what the rest of your story looks like. So here is what I want to leave you with. Not a formula, not a system, a decision. Decide, today, that the fall was not the end. Decide that the silence after the collapse is not defeat. It is preparation. It is the quiet before the version of you that this experience is trying to build steps forward. Decide to stop fighting the difficulty and start learning from it. Decide to take full responsibility for where you are, not to condemn yourself, but to empower yourself. Decide to be disciplined when you do not feel motivated. Decide to be honest when it is uncomfortable. Decide to keep going when everything in you wants to stop. Decide to start again, but stronger. Because the strongest people in the world are not the ones who never fell. They are the ones who fell and stayed down long enough to understand why, and then stood up changed. Be one of those people. You have already survived what tried to stop you. Now it is time to build what could not be stopped. This is your moment. Not to prove something to the world. To prove something to yourself, that you are still here, that you are still capable. That failure was not your ceiling, it was your foundation. Now build on it. Now go, quietly, deliberately, with the calm certainty of someone who knows what they are made of. Start again, but stronger. If this reached you today, if it reminded you of something you had almost forgotten about yourself, leave one comment. I come back stronger.